Hello, my name is Thomas Carney. Today I'm going to be doing my visual aid speech on parts of the violin and a little bit on how to play the violin. First off, we might as well jump right into it. First off, scroll. We're going to go from top to bottom on the violin. You got your scroll. Nothing special about it, it's just fancy and pretty. Just completes the peg box. Next, the peg box. Peg box holds each peg that's connected to each string. That's all it is. Peg box keeps it nice and tight. Next, you got your pegs. Each peg is connected to each individual string. On this side, you got your two bigger strings, your G and your D, and then over here you got your A and your E. You only use these if your violin is completely out of tune. It must be literally like a whole note out of tune for you to even use these because these strings are very, very easy to break. Next, got your nut. Separate your strings from your pegs in order to keep some vibration in between here and your bridge to make sound. Next, the neck of your violin. Nothing there but to hold the fingerboard and for you to hold it when you play it like this. Next, the actual fingerboard itself. This is where you place your fingers in order to make notes on each string. After your neck, you got your upper bout. The only reason there's upper and lower bout because a very important part right here. Upper bout, lower bout. Right here is the waist of the violin. This helps the sound travel through the inside of the hollow violin and come out of your F holes. Your F holes right here are for a clear, nice, deep, resonating sound so that people can hear you even though you're playing a very little instrument. Strings, obviously. Right here is your bridge. You always want your bridge to lean just a little bit. Helps you out. Helps you out a lot. It gives you a little more wedge up here for you to play with your bow. The bridge is used to keep the strings obviously off of the wood so that they can keep vibrating and making sound. The main purpose, to keep the strings apart from each other. You do not want the strings touching. If those strings are touching, there's no sound because they're going to fight each other. There's not going to be a certain note, and it's just going to sound horrible. Under your bridge, your fine tuners. These are what you are going to use mainly when tuning your violin. These are to keep it within the note, obviously, to make it a finer, obviously. And they are connected to each individual string as well. Right under your fine tuners is your tailpiece. Tailpiece holds onto your strings and your fine tuners. Keeps them off the wood for vibrations. Then, after your tailpiece, last thing you got left, last but not least, is your chin rest. This right here just holds your chin rest in place. Chin rest. That's all it means. Chin rest. It's more of a cheek rest, but chin rest to be able to hold your violin and your hands are free to go whichever way they want to, up and down the neck and side to side for the bow. That's about it. There's another piece. You got your bow. This isn't the actual violin, but your bow is what you use to play. I'll show you a little bit about that. And a little bit of an add-on for your violin would be a shoulder rest. I have one just in case if I'm having a bad day or something. But shoulder rest goes on the back of your violin like such. Just tightens on. You can raise them height, obviously, for the height of your chin because you're not going to want to be like this trying to play your violin. It's just there to make it a little easier for you to hold on to. It's actually a lot easier when you got a shoulder rest. You can move all around. You need to be able to move up and down all the way to here with your left hand and still be able to go side to side with your right hand. Towards the end, you're not even going to be holding it with nothing but your chin anyways. Now, we are going to do how to hold it. How to hold your violin and how to hold your bow and how to properly hold each one. Here's your violin fingerboard. When you're playing your notes, always an inch from the nut. No matter where you're at, always an inch. Your first finger is always an inch from the nut, or your music's not going to sound good at all. It's going to be all off, and you're just going to sound like that guy playing a horrible violin. Don't want to do it. Next is your bow. When you take your bow out of your case, it should be loosened. It's going to look like this, all floppy. It's nothing but horsehair and wood. Honestly, the horsehair helps create a better sound off the strings. What you want to do is tighten the bow. There's a piece down here at the end that you twist. Tighten the bow till there's just enough room for you to fit your pinky under, in between the wood and the horsehair. And there you go, you're ready to go. Next is your rosin. You need rosin for sure. The more rosin, the better. Even if you put more rosin on, you're going to look cooler anyways, because the more rosin you put when you play, it's going to be smoke coming off your strings and you just look crazy. When you're putting on rosin, put as much as possible. Play that thing like you're playing a violin. Play the heck out of it. Get the whole bow all the way down here. Get it all nice and rosined up so that your sound sounds good. Because if you don't put enough rosin on your bow, more than likely that little bit of oil from your fingers that you just did trying to size up your bow, it's going to mess up, because as soon as that oil runs over a string, it's not going to vibrate anymore. And then you have no sound. When you're playing, like I said, hold it here, inch from the nut, first finger. We'll do it G so we're not too high pitched. Bow in between fingerboard and bridge. Move at your elbow. It's that easy. Now, that's all the parts. That's how you properly hold it, how you properly move your elbow, such and such. Now, for your notes. A little bit of notes help you out. So if you do decide that you want to pick up the violin, this little video will help you get started. Like I said, an inch from the note. Each string is its own note. The musical alphabet only goes up to G. Starts at A, goes up to G. The violin starts with G. So G, first G by itself. First finger is your A, B, C, and with a fourth finger you create a full chord, and it actually makes the next note come out, which would be D. And your next string is D. Same thing with D, D, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Now you're on to your A string. A string, A, B, C, D, and E. And what do you think the last string on the violin is? E. Same thing, E, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then A and B. There's not another string, there's only 4 strings on a violin, so you would know what the next string would be anyways. To put it all together, really, honestly, the violin is probably the greatest instrument I've ever played. When you play the violin, if you can play the violin, you can play the guitar. If you play the guitar, you can't play the violin. It's just weird like that. On another note, when you are reading music for a violin, they run under the same clef as the guitar and as the piano. The piano, they are all in treble clefs. So if you can read violin music, you can read piano music, and it's actually pretty cool. Helps out with duets and such, or if you're feeling froggy and you think you can play 2 violins or 2 instruments at once, like the piano and the violin, you know how to play them both. There's no music switch. You can just bring your music with you. Violin, it's just beautiful. I mean, I don't know. It attracted me. I've been playing since I was 12 years old. Got 7 years of experience, 5 years of experience, first chair. First chair is basically the conductor of the orchestra. The only thing the conductor is there to do is to keep your tempo. Even if the conductor is keeping your tempo, the first violinist can change it whenever they want. Everybody follows the first violinist. They are the leader of the orchestra. Basically, that's it. I mean, there's a bunch of possibilities. It's a fun instrument. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Thank you.